Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Smith, and you are now listening to episode 5 of So What We Not Gonna Do, the original 90s voicemail podcast. You guys, I have been itching to get back to talk to you guys. I have been enjoying doing this podcast. Like I said last week, I've been learning so much more about myself. You know, when you start putting stuff out on the air and stuff starts getting recorded and put on wax, as you would say, you better know how you really feel about what you're saying. And so it's making me second guess some things and third guess and cross, all those T's and dot those I's. And I've been enjoying it. You guys have been giving me some great feedback, letting me know what you like, what you want more of, what you're not really feeling. And I have really been enjoying it, you guys. It's been an amazing, amazing thing. Today, I'm sitting in my bedroom studio recording the podcast, looking out of this window right now, looking at these mountains. And I'm like, yo, I feel so blessed to be able to be living where I want to live and doing what I want to do on my own terms. I'm basking in gratitude about that today. So this week, or since we last talked, it was a really, really cool week. It was really chill, but it had a lot of busy parts. Have you ever had a week like that? It's like you didn't have a lot of items of things going on, but within those few things going on, it was like chaotic. So that was kind of similar how my week went. So my week started off by going to a doctor's appointment. Now, the doctor that I had to go to, they live about an hour's drive away from me. I cut some time and I got there in about 50 minutes, right? So as I'm getting there, there's this frenzy in the doctor's office. And I'm like, I do see like a fire truck outside. The sirens wasn't on. I don't know. I didn't really think much of it. They were kind of outside at the street, at the curb, not, in the parking lot of the business. And so get in the lobby and they're talking about there's going to be a delay on appointments. And I'm like, I'm not thinking anything again. I'm not connecting the two. And I'm like, okay. They always want us to be on time, but it's a shame that all these people are sitting up in this lobby because they not on time. I wasn't feeling that. Next thing I look up while I'm sitting there minding my business, waiting for my doctor, is my doctor getting pulled out of the doctor's office on a gurney. So, story has it, she passed out in the back in the hallway. I don't know what old girl was going through, but nevertheless, she was getting wheeled out on a gurney. And so this particular day, I had brought her my book as a gift. By the way, my book, So What We Not Gonna Do, hey, it's available for sale on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, housecapacity.com. They have an ebook as well. You guys, it's super, super duper dope. It's less than $20. The ebook ain't nothing but $10. Y'all get into it. Anywho, I had brought her my book, right? Just to say, I appreciate you. Thank you for always, caring about my needs and keeping me and my nutrition together, et cetera, et cetera. And so as she's getting wheeled out on the gurney, here I am like a fan to a celebrity, passing her my book. Passing her my book, and she's apologizing. I'm sorry, you'll have to reschedule. And so that was how my Tuesday ended up going. And I spent most of the week working and planning for some events. I knew I was going to have a really, really busy weekend, had some meetings and things scheduled, so I kind of spent the most of the week getting prepared for that. On Thursday, I had to do something that I do once per month. Okay, so everybody knows that I have this unique beaded beard. So it's a long story, but the long story short is I always wanted textured hair, right? I always wanted dreads or something like that. But I started losing my hair at a very early age, thank you to my granddad. Not even my dad. My dad still got all his hair. Is that the shade or what? Anywho, thanks to my granddad, I ended up going bald relatively early. But I was like, you know what? I got a beard. I always had a beard. I always could grow a beard really, really, really quickly, really thick, And so I came up with this crazy idea. Y'all know I'm always, this mind be twirling and twiddling and doing all kind of other stuff. But came up with this idea to braid my beard and to add beads to it. And I called my cousin and I said, yo, I got this idea. can you do this for me? I know you don't really want me to do it, but can you do it? And yo, we did it, and we just kept perfecting it. And I remember like the first weekend that I wore it, I went to this event. It was at Tyrese's house, Tyrese, the R&B singer's house. It was a AIDS awareness event that the casting director Robbie Reed was throwing. And we were at this particular event at Tyrese's house, and Nia Long, the actress who I've always loved, she was like everybody's girlfriend in their head, right? She stops in her tracks as she's walking by me in the opposite direction, and she like grabs my beard, and she says, "I like this." I thanked her. I stumbled away, and then I said, "You know what? I think this is a keeper." And so here we are like 5 years down the line. And yo, I have a magical story about this beard while I'm on it. Have a magical story. So there's this campaign, this casting that I saw on one of these agencies that I'm connected with. So I submitted for it. They were looking for African global looks with swag. Now, anybody who knows me, and if you don't know me and know my style, get into it over at Smith Worldwide on Instagram, and also a lookbook by Smith at a lookbook by Smith. Shameless plug on my own podcast. I can do that, right? But go there to kind of get into my style, and you'll see what I'm saying, why this casting was so perfect for me. So looking for global looks with swag, right? I'm like, yo, that's me. Finally a casting directly for me. Submitted for it. Long story short, ended up being Apple. So Apple ended up letting me come in and audition to be a African pop star on stage performing is what they wanted me to be. So I got hired for that, and it was all because of my own unique style, my personal nail design that I created, my beard, that people questioned that I created. And I ended up booking a campaign in the last half of the year. I was on the walls of like most major Apple stores across the country. Somebody even in London sent me that they saw me there. And I'm like, if never before, even though I already knew that being you is what it's going to be, and that's the most sickening route you could ever take, I already knew that. But if nothing else, that's when the tech tycoon of the world says, we want you, all of you. Let me tell you, one of the casting, the producers had mistakenly emailed me and said, everybody go get manicures. Clear nails, no buff, no shine, nothing. Because we were going to be, advertising for product. They hit me up the next day and said, you didn't go get your nail designs off, did you? I said, yeah, of course. That's what you guys said you wanted, right? They said, no. That wasn't for you. We need you to be just as you were in the casting. The only one. On the whole, the shoot was about a casting of 40 different people and different characters they were looking for. The only one with their own nail design. I did my own makeup that day. I did my own styling that day. All my own clothes. Anyhow, that was a solidifying fact that I was doing something that I should be doing. So once a month, I got to get that redone. I pay a nice amount to get these beads, so I don't do it every day, of course. And plus, it takes a lot of time. It takes about 5 hours to totally take it down, unbraid it, wash it, condition it, oil it back up, rebraid it, all the bead patterns laid out, lacing it back up. It's a lot, but it's worth it. So that's what I ended up doing on Thursday. Headed back out to the Valley to get some rest. Ended up going to visit a friend of mine. He has a really dope spot in West Hollywood at the Chapel. It's an event called Classic, CLSQ. You can look it up on Instagram at It's Classic. They throw this like weekly hip hop event, and what's dope about it is that most of the clubs in LA, they play a lot of LA music. You know what I mean? Your Chris Browns, they play a lot of Tyga, which I absolutely love that too. But you don't get a lot of places that play that, like New York, that Brooklyn, that like East Coast, Biggie and Mary J and all that kind of music. And that is the vibe here. But it's also mixed with a tease of pop for an all-inclusive type event. Is super, super dope. So I hit that up up by myself on Thursdays. I was laying in bed. I was like, you know what? I did all my errands today, did all my work today on Thursday for Friday, so I bought myself a day off. So I said, Papa gonna hit these streets, and I went to go support them there and had a great time. On Friday, ended up running some errands. I had to take a box back to AT&T. I had canceled the service with AT&T, and a month later, they sent me a box for like an install internet kit. I didn't ask for the box, but it now became my responsibility to get the box back to them, which upset me. So y'all know me. Y'all know what I did. I called corporate. I sure did. I said, hey, how are you? We departed our relationship about a month ago. I canceled my service and I went on about my business. And a month later, a box showed up at my door. But now, I don't want to be charged for what's in this box because you guys will do that later. But I also don't want to be inconvenienced in driving or Ubering to a location to do something about it. So what can we do? So what we ended up doing, or what they did for me, they gave me a $25 credit on the bill for this particular bill. And then until the extent of my contract, y'all, they gave me $20 off per month. That's how it is. You talk, you get some things. So I definitely took that box back that day on Friday. Stopped by the mall and realized why I absolutely cannot stand malls. The food court was the best thing at this mall. You hear me? And then that night I kicked it with the guys. We start our weekends pretty strong. Me, Denzel, and Joseph ended up meeting with Alex, who was waiting for us at this nightclub in West Hollywood called Penthouse. They have this particular weekly Friday event, and it is like high-strung hip-hop. And I mean, like, every song is going to be an upbeat song. Your feet will not continue to stand still. They shall move. And we had such a dope time vibing out with each other, dancing and taking pictures and all that. And then on Saturday, ended up getting some good amount of rest, but I had to prepare for a meeting that I had that evening. So we ended up having that meeting and then had a crew come over for some good old spades. And here's the thing. Here's what I love most about spades. Yes, the game is bomb, actually. But I love spades because spades is the place where it is acceptable to talk crap. And I have a PhD, graduated summa cum laude with a degree in talking crap. So it's super fun to do that with my friends. And so we had fun. And the game was tied. What? And it just kind of ended. And so I must say that Sunday was definitely and usually is my favorite day of the week. I always tell you, there's something so dope about Sunday. It has this interesting dichotomy because it's the beginning of a thing and the ending of a thing at the same time. And so it's something special that happens when you're ending something and beginning something. That little piece of period in the middle, yo, I'm telling y'all. So there's something special about Sunday. And so this Sunday was like no other. The guys and I, we had a really dope photo shoot with an amazing photographer in LA, videographer that has a super dope perspective on how she sees us. Shyla is her name. How she sees us as a unit. And she had an eye. And when I say she shot us up, I ain't even seen the pictures yet, y'all. She shot us up, I'm telling you. And we did that downtown LA. It's funny because while we're out on our shoot, I had two people that ended up hitting me up in my messages on Instagram and DM talking about, we got a downtown LA live photo shoot coming from y'all. I'm like, wow, it's so amazing that sometimes it's those times when you think that people are not noticing that it's those times that everybody's watching. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why you got to be on your P's and Q's. Even when you ain't trying to be on your P's and Q's, just be good people. You ain't got to worry about being on your P's and Q's, matter of fact. But anyways, we did that photo shoot, and we was trying to make our way across town for the party of the year. Y'all, this is my favorite party to go to It was, you know, guys know Chef Roble? No, you know? Okay, so Chef Roble is a young, mid-30s chef. He was based out of New York. He ended up being, he's like young black culture type advocator, but he's also a chef. So he had those two, you know, pieces of him that ended up getting him a TV show. And he became a celebrity from there. And not only was he a cook, but he threw these events. It's called Everyday People. Now, the theme of the event, Everyday People. All y'all, ain't no celebrities here. This for people who want to have fun. This for people who forgot they got to go to work on Monday. This for people who want to be fly and be theyself, and that's going to be appreciated. This for people who want to wear pink, purple, blue, and white at the same time. It's for people who want to pull out the 80s, you know, Coogee. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that kind of crowd. It's where the super duper dope blacks in LA, like, where y'all been at? I ain't never seen you around. It's that type of energy and exchange. When you walk in, I'm talking about the DJ will stop playing some of the songs in the middle of the song, and the crowd singing it so loud. They as loud as the song was just on. And you can hear this coming from down the street like you walking up to the Rose Bowl. But it was at LaJar. Oh my God. It was kinetic energy to the max. And so we went, of course. And man, it was like that line outside. Like, whether you was a star in LA, whether you was a quasi-celebrity, B-list, they was not budging on how they was allowing. I saw some people outside that I surely would have thought would have had about 2 or 3 VIPs booked up here, standing in line looking to get in. So we were gracious enough, y'all. We got able to tip on in. Me and my bros, like I said, we had a photo shoot today, so you know we was on our full potential, okay? We was on our full potential. You can find those details over on my Instagram at Smith Worldwide. So, you know, we were able to, we tipped through, okay? We went through Everyday People, and, you know, we all know a lot of people. It's 5 of us, y'all, and we know a lot of people. And so, just to see people we hadn't seen in a while, some industry friends who've been away busy working for, a while, it was dope, y'all. We got there a little later than we planned because the photo shoot ran a little over, which was dope, which is all good. This event was going from 3 o'clock to 10 o'clock, but we got there about 6, about 6, which wasn't too bad. And so, y'all, we vibed. We had a great time. After that, we really probably should have went home and laid our tails down, because really, that was really, it could have been the end of the night. But we kept on going. Ended up going over to about, 1, 2, 3 other spots for the night. And this story could go on, and you guys will be so mad at me because I am not getting to what y'all want to hear. Is that next voicemail, I know, but long story short, I had a good week, y'all. The boy was in good hands. I had a good week. So, come on, y'all. Y'all had enough of my week. Let's get into everybody else's week. Let's get into this tea. Figure out what these voicemails talking about and these celebrity topics. Y'all ready? Come on, let's go. So I was tiptoeing around the internet like I always do, and came across this really, really inspiring story. So this guy named Mike Wierski, he went to a business called Quick Check-In in Phillipsburg, New Jersey last week. And he plays the numbers. Apparently he spends about $20 a week playing the numbers. He does like an auto pick situation. He played his numbers, let them auto pick. And unfortunately, he had played two different sets of numbers that day. He took his cell phone and ended up accidentally leaving the lotto slips at the Quick Check-In. So he's like, dang, he didn't figure it out until like maybe like after he got back home to his home in Alpha, New Jersey, which is like near the Pennsylvania border. So got all the way home. It finally dawned on him to call the clerk and ask, like, hey, did anybody find, 2 lotto tickets that was just sitting around there, whatever? So he confirmed that somebody did turn in to, drop lotto tickets, probably that's something I would have threw away in the trash or not said anything, but thankfully somebody did turn it in. So when they turned it in, he ended up, when the drawing happened that particular night, he had called to ask, it was a family friend, that called the family and said that his mother had got a call from a mutual friend that said that a friend of theirs, she had heard that a friend of theirs had hit the jackpot, and said that it was from that store, the Quick Check-In, that Mr. Weirsky typically goes to. So when he uses his app to call in to see, because he didn't even check. Mind you, this is 2 days later. May I add, this is 2 days after he had played those numbers. So when he went to go check on the app on the phone, it was like, yo, sir, you're the winner. And so he said he just dropped his phone. He dropped his phone and just he told his mom, they were watching a movie, and she's like, well, what the heck does that mean? He's like, that means I won $273 million. And so he said his mom was like, get out of here. She said he just dropped his phone, and they just watched TV for about another hour. And he said, you know what? He jumped up out of the blue, and it was a snowstorm going on at the time. He ran across town in the snow to go check with the proper authorities, and the New Jersey Lotto actually said that he actually was the winner. So he had been unemployed for 15 years, y'all. 15 years unemployed. He had been a stay-at-home dad. He was helping his wife. They moved around a lot because his wife traveled a lot for work. So he had been a stay-at-home dad, unemployed for 15 years, spending $20 a week out of his budget to play these auto pick numbers, loses the tickets. They get found by a stranger who turns them in at the Quick Check-In. He finds out 2 days later that his life just changed. So, you know what he's going to do? He says he's going to take the $162.5 million lump sum payout. He says he's got to at first put himself in the hands of his lawyers, and those are his accountants and whatnot, because they got to get his money situated, get things paid off, et cetera, et cetera. He said, but then he's going to go crazy, y'all. And this is his version of crazy. He's going to take his whole family on a really wild, dope vacation and pay for everything, and says that he's going to also get himself a pickup truck. So $30,000 goes to the Quick Check-In for the selling of that ticket there too. So I thought that story was really dope. I guess good people do exist in the world, or maybe just somebody had OCD. Who knows? But nevertheless, I'm so glad that he actually got his tickets back. Now let me see who I got to email to see if I can get a little bit of a donation. Now, our first music break had a little bit of controversy behind it after the artist wore a Speedo with an erection for the entire video. However, MC Hammer's Pumps and a Bump in 1994 was definitely that thing. We're going to get into our first music break, y'all, with MC Hammer's Pumps and a Bump.
Give me the girls with the pumps and a bump. Just when I pump, then I hit another slump. Up, jump the skinnies with the pump and a bump. Bump, bitty girls, getting on my good nerves, looking like ice cream, ready to be served. Stretch it, bend it, till I get in it. If you wanna give me with a G, baby, stand it. Cause I come equipped, read my lips, baby, you can see me slip out your clothes and take a trip. Pumps and a bump, pumps and a bump. We like the girls with the pumps and a bump. Pumps and a bump, pumps and a bump. We like the girls with the pumps and a bump.
Shaniqua, how you doing, baby? This Brian. Hey, Pumps and the Bumps too. Bus will pick you up on High Street at Brookdale Park.
Give me the girls with the pumps and a bump. Pumps and a bump. Now many say a bit rough, but if you hit, you know that it's a phone truck. It's making the brothers go crazy in the 9-3, shaped like an hourglass, high in this wine, G. So when I say I got a step, it's a pride thing. Never been a coward, cause it's an east side thing.
Kiana, hey, the bus will be on High Street at Brookdale Park at 1.
The pumps and a bump.
Sarah.
Pumps in a bump, pumps in a bump, pumps in a bump. We like the girls with the pumps in a bump, pumps in a bump, pumps in a bump. Give me the girls with the pumps in a bump. No, I'm sticky stack. Yeah, you wiggity wiggity whack. If you ain't got biggity back, now when you see the one shaking on the dance floor, you follow it, shut your eyes and get hypnotized. But a brother like me, a dance floor system coming in your every streets of Charmin, and she know I need alarming. I'm putting fingerprints all over that rum. I'm guilty as hell for loving the pumps in a bump. Ow! Pumps in a bump, pumps in a bump. We like the girls with the pumps in a bump, pumps in a bump, pumps in a bump. We like the girls with the pumps in a bump, pumps in a bump, pumps in a bump. We like the girls with the pumps in a bump.
All right, enough of that. I'm ready to get into my first voicemail. Let's look and see who called me this week. Let's go.
Hey, Smith. So, check this out. I'm a business owner in the Midwest where, you know, at times it can lack creativity. And per usual, you know, people want to copy. And I get it. You lack creativity. You don't know where to go next. But, you know, I just believe that creativity is everywhere you go.
Absolutely.
So, recently, you know, there's this individual or individuals who just try to copy what it is I'm trying to do in the Midwest.
I hate that.
And, like, there's some intentional things that this individual does, like, even downright to post sometimes. So,
Not
I'm just
post.
trying to figure out what's a girl to do?
Wow. You know what? What's a girl to do? What's a girl to do is what you're doing, is keep doing you. Because here's the reality is, for starters, people need to learn their lane. Let's start there. We're gonna go from the inside out. People need to learn their lane. You may admire another lane, but until you get a strong grip on your lane, you will never master anything in life. And so, with that being said, what you should do is keep doing you, because the reality is, even though there may be a glimpse and a glitter of your essence, they cannot do you. And then even by the time where they master the mimicry of doing you, you'll be on to something else. So keep doing you. Keep your strategy fresh. It is ridiculous that creators and business owners who want to step into this realm of creative arts, freelance type business that these shows like Love and Hip Hop promote as so glamorous, that they don't understand what it takes to actually stand in the grounds. And so when you start seeing stuff like all that mimicry, and, you know, people say that, what do they say? What is the best form of flattery? Imitation is the best form of flattery. Imitation is disrespectful, and it's a flake, and it's fake, and it's not real. So it's not the best form of anything because it's based on nothing. And so I am annoyed when people rub shoulders with me, especially when their whole vibe is to try to steal my vibe. It is not duplicatable. They'll learn that along the way. So keep doing what you're doing. And you know, we just stretch our hands out and we pray for those, because you're in a dangerous place where you're in a lane that is not your lane. So let's keep doing your thing. Much more success to you. Thanks for calling in and trusting me with your answer. Dang, it's a shame, y'all. Get more creative. Get in your creative closets and figure some things out. All right, let's get to our next thing. Our next music break is a shout out to one of my favorite West Coast songs. When this song dropped in 1992, it became the soundtrack to my whole movement behind me wanting to get back to the West Coast. That's Nothing But a G Thing by Dr. Dre, featuring Snoop Dogg. Let's go.
1, 2, 3 into the 4. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door, ready to make an entrance, so back on up, cause you know we're about to rip shit up. Give me the microphone first so I can bust like a bubble. Compton and Long Beach together, now you know you in trouble. Ain't nothing but a G thing, baby. Too low death niggas, so we're crazy. Death Row is the label that pays me. Unfadable, so please don't try to fake this. But back to the lecture at hand. Perfection perfection is perfected, so I'ma let them understand from a young G's perspective. And before me dig on a bitch, I have to find a contraceptive. You never know, she could be earning her man and learning her man, and at the same time burning her man. Now you know I ain't with that shit, Lieutenant. Ain't no pussy good enough to get burned while I'm offended. Yeah. And that's realer than real deal, Holyfield. And now you hookers and hoes know how I feel. Well, if it's good enough to get broke off a proper chunk, I take a small piece of some of that funky stuff. It's like this and like that and like this and it's like that and like this and like that and it's like this and like that and like this and Drake creep to the mic like a fan.
Well, I'm peeping and I'm creeping and I'm creeping, but I damn near got caught cause my beeper kept beeping. Now it's time for me to make my impression felt. So sit back, relax, and strap on your seatbelt. You've never been on a ride like this before, with a producer who can rap and control the maestro. At the same time with the dope rhyme that I kick, you know and I know I flow some old funky shit to add to my collection. This selection symbolizes dope. Take a toke but don't choke. If you do, you have no clue of what me and my homie Snoop Dogg came to do. It's like this and like that and like this and it's like that and like this and like that and it's like this. And who gives a fuck about those?
So just chill to the next episode. On that ass, what a hellified gangster lean. Getting funky on the mic like an old batch of collard greens. It's the capital S-O, yes, I'm fresh and double O-P. D-O-double-G-Y-D-O-double-G, you see. Showing much flex when it's time to wreck a mic. Pimping hoes and clocking a grip like my name was Dolomite. Yeah, and it don't quit. I think they in the mood for some motherfucking G shit. Yeah. So Dre,
what up, dog?
Gotta give them what they want.
What's that, G?
We gotta break them off something.
Hell yeah.
And it's gotta be bumpin'. City of Compton.
It's where it takes place, so when that show attention. Mobbing like a motherfucker, but I ain't lynching. Dropping the funky shit that's making the sucker niggas mumble. When I'm on the mic, it's like a cookie, they all crumble. Try to get close, say your ass will get smacked. My motherfucking homie, Doggy Dog, has got my back. Never let me slip, cause if I slip, then I'm slipping. But if I got my Nina, then you know I'm straight tripping. And I'ma continue to put the rap down, put the Mac down. And if your bitches talk shit, I have to put the smack down. Yeah, and you don't stop. I told you I'm just like a clock when I tick and I talk. But I'm never off, always on till the break of dawn. See you when PTO win in the city they call Long Beach. Putting the shit together like my nigga DOC. No one can do it better like this, that, and this, and it's like that, and like this, and like that, and it's like this. Then who gives a fuck about those?
So just chill to the next episode.
So there was no way that I was going to be able to record this particular week's episode without talking about this particular topic, leaving Neverland. So for those of you who don't know, the few of you who may not know, Leaving Neverland is a documentary that aired on HBO a couple of weeks ago. It was produced by British filmmaker Dan Reed, and it focused on two guys, Wade Robson, who is a renowned celebrity choreographer and creative director, and James Safichuk. Now, these two guys used to roll around back in the day when they were kids in their teens with Michael Jackson, living it up. And they did at one time bring allegations to the public in court and all that they had been molested by the superstar. But then they took back those reports and said that they weren't true. And so now, decades later, in the wake of this Me Too movement, in the wake of the Harvey Weinsteins, in the wake of social awareness to sex crime victims and their perpetrators, this documentary has hit the internet like a global storm. It hit like a global storm, and I would say that it's pretty much got the country split, because half of the country is trying to decide their devoted fans and family who says that he would never violate a child. And then on the other hand, there's a lot more other folks who are saying that they do believe his accusers. So, it's causing that conversation to be announced. What are we gonna do when we believe that the person whose voice and songs and videos are the literal soundtrack to the life as we know it has done something that may be deemed to whatever individual, probably most, to be deplorable? How are we going to handle that with what we're going to do moving forward? So, of course, that starts the outcry. Are we muting Michael Jackson? Are we muting Michael Jackson is the outcry that took place across the weekend on social media and across, actually not even just like quote unquote social media as far as the blogs, but across news platforms were that debate I saw going forth. And so a few celebrities talked out. One was Wendy Williams. Wendy said on her show that she says, "I do believe a shower in the nude. I don't believe there was any sexual touching." T.I. said, "Let this man speak for himself to defend his legacy. Oh, that's right. Dead men can't speak." I thought that was a good one. And then D.L. Hewley says that society gave Michael Jackson a pass because of his talent. So let's talk about this. So we got Michael Jackson, this pop icon. Of course, we know Michael lived a very sheltered, child star. If we believe what we've been shown, what we've been told in the interviews that have been given from the little bit that this very ultra private family has either lit out or that has been sniffed out or leaked out, we know Michael was pretty much of a loner. He pretty much had a very boyish heart, and so we've seen interviews where he's talked about his love for children or whatever, what have you. My podcast today is not to discuss about whether he was guilty or not, but the conversation that is created around, like, the ripples that happen around conversations like these. Because now you have, like, Oprah. Oprah just did a huge special called After Neverland, I believe, on her own platform, where she interviewed the complainants, asking them about the details of this particular documentary, Leaving Neverland. Now, that didn't sit well. That did not sit well with Black America, because how dare the voice for us be going against the entertainer that has been the soundtrack to our world? Black America didn't quite take to the fact that Oprah was sitting down with those mentioned in the documentary. So D.L. Hewley had an interesting perspective on that, and I definitely respect it. He said, for one, Oprah is an assault victim. How dare you basically tell an assault victim that she can't speak up about something that's so near and dear and tragically hits her own heart? Not only that, she's a woman. Thirdly, she has a right to an opinion. And fourthly, she's an investigative reporter. It's her call to transcribe and collect stories. That's her job. And so, with all those points being hit, how could you not respect that? But I don't know. What do you guys think about that? They asked D.L. Hewley, and by they I mean TMZ, asked D.L. Hewley, I guess because he had aforementioned, I only allude to that based on the headline underneath the video. I don't know the backstory to this, but I believe he had alluded that he's not gonna mute artists like R. Kelly, and I think he said or Michael Jackson. And they asked him, "How could you not mute them?" And he said, "Just like I can still sing the national anthem." Wow. And on that note, let's get into my second voicemail. Let's see who called me.
Hey, so I am a caller in from Michigan, and I have a client, I'm a salon owner, who is very affluent, very prestigious, but every time she comes in, she's always talking about, like, all the different salons that she's ever been to and how terrible the stylists were that did her hair.
I hate that.
So, like, as a new stylist, I'm just over the top with her and her complaints. And I want to know from you, how should I go about handling this? I don't want to lose her as a new client, but at the same time, I do not want her coming in with all the negativity as far as her experiences with the other stylists that may or may not be in my same city. So could you please give me some feedback on what you think? Thank you.
Isn't it interesting how money does not resolve all things? Money doesn't even heal negativity. You know, people will use it to try to heal it or to mask it is what it really does. But in this case, the caller is asking. She's a hair salon owner in her city in Michigan. She has a new client who is affluent. This particular client is a nice coin. It's a nice, trustworthy, connect, and that, but is always negative whenever it comes to other salons that she's been to in the city. And who wants to hear that at work all day when you're chilling, minding your own business? You don't want to hear about what's going on around the city and what you didn't like about other people who are your, colleagues possibly or competitors. It's like, so the caller is asking, how do I not offend but also still not deal with that? So the way I deal with that is how I deal with negativity on any platform, anyway. I redirect it. Negativity always is on an assignment. And one of its assignments is never to build. It never comes to build. It always comes to distract, deter, or destroy. It has an assignment. So, because I know negativity exists within some people, all of us have, senses and pieces of negativity and things that we're growing from. Let's start there. But what we're talking about is this particular known negative energy, this particular arrow that this particular person throws, this particular is their fighting mechanism. We know it's coming. It's what I'm trying to say. So why don't we just reroute them in this already at the jump? So some ways that I deal with that is, and I could suggest to you, you know that she's going to be coming in. She's scheduled an appointment. So her appointment's on Wednesday at noon. How about this? Find some things that you guys have in common. Do a little bit of research. Have about 4 or 5 topics that y'all can have some chit-chat girl talk about that are based on things that y'all have in common, or at lowercase denominator is something that at least she likes. And just have those talking points available. Work around what's loved and shared and celebrated, and let that be the fuel for the conversation. Now, I'm going to tell you now, something even within that going to trigger up some of that negative piece, and it's going to be a little part which you're going to try to dip and dive into that story. But you got to know how to swing it. You listen, but you snatch it back in and curve it back under and bring it back to a positive point. Don't feed into it, basically. But you do that enough times, they'll start realizing that, she ain't that gal for me. I'm gonna have to call Tina Marie across town to talk about, that beauty salon or whatever. That's how you do it. And I think that's a great tool just on how to deal with negativity already. You know, when I know it's coming, or if I can't already dodge it, you know, because if I know it's coming, I'm not placing myself in the line of nobody's negativity. You know what I'm saying? I can pick it up quick too. And see, the way I'm built already is I already pick up on energy. Like it's so easy that it sometimes actually scares me, to be honest with you. Not scared like tremble, but like, wow, that's deep. But it be on point. And so, with that being said, I can't be in the path. But sometimes we find ourselves in situations where we didn't even know. You know what I'm saying? We done met some negativity, or we're about to meet some negativity or encounter it. But you gotta stay on your toes, because it always has an agenda, and so you gotta always have an agenda for it. So try that and let me know how that works out. If it don't work out, actually call me back and let's work on a plan B. But let's try that and let's see how that turns out for you. So I see my voicemail light is blinging. Let's get into our next caller.
Hi, Smith. It is me again with part 2 of my question about the ghosting. Love your response, but I want to follow up with a secondary question. So what do you do if you have literally done all this communication, verbal and nonverbal? Mm-hmm. You've shown the person, you've talked to them, you've expressed yourself, you just have done all that you can to show them that you are a gallon-sized person, but you are still getting only those 2 tablespoons from them in the relationship. And you are being an adult about it, but they're more of a teenager about it. And you just don't feel like you're going to parent an adult and try to convince someone to step their game up in the relationship. I believe that in relationships, there has to be some level of reciprocity, and the pendulum swings both ways. I have to own my actions in the relationship, you know, being present, being in the moment, being intentional, and then the pendulum swings back to that person where they've got to do the same at some level. Mm-hmm. Even though you're a gallon-sized person, they may not be a gallon-sized person. You may say, oh, you know what, I'll take a pint. But a gallon versus 2 tablespoons is a huge disparity. So sometimes people are just not tall enough to ride this ride. What do we do in that case? Thank you.
Ooh, okay, so let me rewind. Let me get everybody up to date. So last week, as you see, the caller said this is part 2 of her question from last week. And thank you for your listening to the response, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad it resonated. What she asked last week was, what are my thoughts about ghosting? Ghosting is when you leave a relationship, you say nothing, you just bounce and let it fade away and fizzle away without ever talking to the person again. I wasn't for it. I'm not for it. And you can play last week's episode to get the tea on that. But today she's asking, part 2 is, what if you've done all the explaining, you've done all the meetings, you've had all the heart-to-hearts, you sent the emails, you sent the texts, you sent the tweets, the subtweets, you've been in the DMs, you've been in the instant messenger, you done sent Morse code, you done sent the letter by the pigeon, you done all you can, like Donnie McClurkin said, to stand, and they still keep doing it. What do you do then? And she said, based on the fact that they may not even have the capacity to do what it is that you need them to do. Okay, so let's answer that from 2 ways. Answer those both questions separately. So the first part is, I would say that sometimes when we have relationships, one of the first things I always aim for reciprocity. But I make myself open to say, God, what's up here? Is it a relationship I'm to pour into? Is a relationship that's supposed to pour into me? Or is this a mutual picture relationship where we're pouring into each other? Of course, that's the hope and goal, but depends on your call, depends on your giftings. Sometimes that's not going to always be the call. For instance, when a singer goes to the stage, the exchange there is different. They're giving their gift, their soul. They had to go through for these songs, and they're yielding all of this on stage to help somebody else have a transcendent experience and maybe even avoid the pain that is the thesis of the narrative of this song. So there may not be a mutual exchange because their gift is now to pour into. But there may be a mutual exchange because the audience also gives back that love, so they receive it back. But the point being is sometimes, depends on what you're supposed to do, there's not always a mutual exchange. So sometimes I think because we all desire mutual exchange, and it is the most bomb setup, we don't often evaluate whether this is a I'm the pourer, or I'm getting poured into, or we are both pouring. And sometimes there's times where it can look like we're both pouring, and you be thinking that we in a both pour situation, and you look up and you like, holla, my cup been dry for a long time. And didn't even know that the person really didn't have the capacity to really do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's the first thing, is really evaluating, what you're pouring into. The second thing I want to say is, to be honest with you, I don't really count, if I think last week you were describing that it was at the top of the year where you kind of just lessened communication and kind of just let it fade away. They never picked up back on it, and it kind of just, disintegrated. But, I believe that you did communicate in great effort that this is how this makes me feel when this happens, and I can't be in a relationship that makes me feel this way. And so I think I don't really consider it, now that you've given me part 2, that you ghosted them. I think they were well informed. And I think you got tired of making yet another meeting and having another heart-to-heart to re-explain something that you've explained probably 5 or 6 times. So I don't see that as ghosting. So that's what I will say to that, and that's what I will say to your question regarding the, being a gallon and not even getting a pint from them. You know what I'm saying? Not even getting a cup. You getting a Dixie cup, and you sitting up here pouring 2 gallons. It is taxing. But sometimes we have to evaluate each situation and know, what's my setup here? You know what I'm saying? Not what I want, not what's ideal. What's my purposeful setup here? And if you can't figure that out, honestly, at some point, you need to let that situation go. So I'm glad that you took a chance on you. I am. And speaking of taking a chance, let's get into our next story. This is somebody else who took a chance over the weekend. Let's see what else happened. Sounds like Chance the Rapper became Chance the husband over the weekend after the Grammy Award-winning rapper married his longtime girlfriend, Kirsten Corley, who's now Kirsten Bennett, over the weekend in Newport Beach, California at Pelican Hill Resort in an all-white affair. They said I do. Some of the celebrity guests who, of course, he says are some of his mentors were Kirk Franklin, Kanye West, and Dave Chappelle. It looked like it was a really, really, really dope wedding. Over the weekend, I did see Kirsten. She posted some of her, actually not Kirsten, her sister Crystal Corley posted some of the bridesmaids up over the weekend, and those kind of went viral because everybody knew that it was Chance's wedding. So shout out to them. Congrats, you guys. Bid you adieu to that. This song in our next music break, it always puts me in my feels, y'all. When Mary J released this song in late 1994 on Uptown Records, it's My Life from her My Life album, y'all. That song, yes, that album was so soiled in her depression, her drug abuse at that time, her physical abuse that she was dealing with at that time. But the honesty, the audacity for someone to pour their pain out like she did on wax and give it to the world to help somebody else, yo, we gotta crown her when we have. So here's up on our next playlist song is Mary J. Blige's My Life.
for the man of love. Yeah. Because he will give you love. If you look into my life, if you look in my life and see what I've seen, oh, you will see I'm so if you look in my life and see what I've seen, every day, don't know what to do or to say. If you look in my life and see what I've seen, if you looked into my life, if you look in my life and see what I've seen, take your time, baby, don't you rush a thing. Don't you know I know we all are struggling. I know it is hard, but we will get by. And if you don't believe in me, just believe in Him. 'Cause He'll give you peace of mind. Yes, He would. And you will see the sunshine for real. Yes, you would. And you'll get to free your mind. And things will turn out fine. Oh, I know that things will turn out fine. Yes, they would. Yes, they would. If you looked at my life and see what I've seen, if you looked at my life and see what I've seen, all you got to do is if you looked at my life, take your time, one day at a time. It's on you what you're gonna do. If you looked at my life and see what I've seen, la 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 la. If you looked at my life and see what I've seen.
I see my voicemail light is blinking, and I'm ready to get into our next caller. Caller, talk to me.
Hey, cuz, this is Fonda.
Hey, Fon.
My question is, how can a person prepare to share their things, belongings before marriage when you're so independent? You know, for example, cars, house, monies, space. You know, when you're very independent or lived alone for so long, I don't know. It's something to get used to. So help me out on this one, cuz. All right. Thank you.
Well, I think you're tipping towards your answer with that one of those last clauses you just said. It's something to get used to. And that's pretty much what it's going to be. You know what I mean? You have value that you placed on your space. You have value that you placed up on your things that you own, your assets, because of the time and the blood, sweat, and the tears that you put into them, the loans you took out, the credit cards you had to pay off, you know? So it's really hard to find, you know, somebody that can value the things that you value the way you do. So one thing I can say that, you know, one of the tools of finding peace is really how I want to answer it. Finding peace in learning to have peace in sharing your things is by finding someone who takes value and finds value in the things that you find value in. Hard work, dedication. How about just dusting? You know what I'm saying? Find somebody like that. When you find somebody that matches on that level, then it'll be a lot easier to share things with, share space with, share time with, and things like that. So let me tell you, I found this video online on YouTube. It's a lesson from Sesame Street. Now, in this particular lesson, Big Bird is talking to Elmo and one of the other little boys. Child, I don't remember what his name was, but they was talking about those two, Elmo and the anonymous Muppet, were playing with a train. and they had the toy train at the top of an incline, like a hill. And they let the train go, and they just having a blast letting the train go down the hill. But the train ran smack dab into Big Bird's blocks that he had just built, this like skyscraper of a Lego building. And he was so excited and proud of it. And so they let this train go right smack dab into the building. And so Big Bird, this is what he had to say about that after they gave their little apology.
Sorry? That's what you're gonna say? Is you're sorry? Well, you only just busted up the nicest block tower I've ever made.
Oh, he was so hurt, y'all.
It's only a flat tower, Big Bird. Yeah, you can make another one.
My God.
It's only a block tower. It's only a block tower. Why, it was a big and beautiful block tower, and I worked really hard on it. It took me a long time. I really love that block tower.
You did?
Yeah, I did. And you busted. Not really sad. And I'm angry too.
See, here's the thing. That's the problem. See, they were all out playing in the same playground. They having a good old day this afternoon, okay? But see, the lesson here, it's a lot of playing going on, but everybody that's in our circle that's playing don't got the same value for what we're building like others. So, fine, to answer your question, find you somebody, look for somebody who you see that value to things that you value. Seek your values in whoever. Now, once we got that, you still got to take the inner work. You gotta let stuff go. But you don't have to let it go where it's into finality. You can just compartmentalize it. So, you got, let's say, I don't know, let's give a particular thing. You got an attic that you don't really, normally share with anyone. You have all your high school, trinkets up there. You got things from, your past that, just different things, trinkets and stuff that you got, jeweled items and stuff. Well, you know that at some point, depending on how strong the relationship is going and how you're desiring it to go, they're gonna end up knowing or hearing more than likely about that attic. Well, then you pick the time when you decide, well, when this happens, I'll think about sharing that space. What I'm saying is, you're putting it back in your control, but you're compartmentalizing that place. So you're making, you're putting it to where you're not being run by it. You don't feel taken advantage of. You don't feel like somebody's taking something from you. You're giving the energy to when you're gonna share that space. So try that. Let me know if that works. If not, call back next week. But the reality of it is, sharing our space just ain't nothing. That's just not something that just comes normally. It takes some getting used to. But the rewards are great. So consider the rewards too. Now consider the rewards. So let me know. So this just in, fresh tea for today. Wendy Williams drops nigga, says the N-word live on air today on her show, on the Wendy Williams show. And of course, it's splashed all across Twitter, or starting to be splashed across Twitter right now. And I definitely had to bring you guys the information about it. So let's wind back to where the story is going. So what she was reporting on was Blac Chyna's ex-boyfriend, YBN J Almighty. He is known for talking a lot of crap on Instagram, yo. He is known for being mouthy. Well, unfortunately, that may have caught up with him because over the weekend, he was jumped, which I do not support that, but he was jumped and assaulted by multiple, at least 3 to 4, maybe possibly 5 people outside of Saks Fifth Avenue over the weekend. So Wendy Williams was telling that particular story about, how she felt about that particular assault. Now, while she's talking about that story, well, how about this? I'll just let her tell you what she said.
I just love Fifth Avenue shopping, and it's unbelievable. You niggas, Sorry.
Did you hear it?
I get very... And I just... it's unbelievable. You niggas...
Uh-oh.
And I just... it's unbelievable. You niggas...
She caught it.
Sorry. I get very comfortable talking to you. Look...
Now I get very comfortable talking to you. Now, I don't know what waves that's gonna have. You know, you gotta think about it. Wendy is a brand. Wendy is a daytime stay-at-home mom's brand, women's brand. They are the market, y'all. You know, and so this is not going to have a huge wave. It's not. That's not what I'm saying. But you got to think about that. You know, her market is middle America. It's white women, middle America, soccer moms, stay at home. You know, that's her market. Plus, she's also an affiliate with QVC, which is the home shopping network, which also caters to that particular demographic as well. Now, I don't know how kindly they take to their advocates and ambassadors and colleagues and constituents using that type of language. I don't know. But that did happen today. And so I guess Wendy said, listen, I'm comfortable talking to y'all. So, you know, that's probably the most controversial thing that's happened since her return back to TV last week, of which I am happy that she is back. Shout out to all the hosts, though, that stood in the interim. They did a really dope job. They did a good job on casting those hosts, too. You know, Wendy came back. She looked good. She talked about her thyroid situation and what led her to being away. There was a rumor that she was away because near the time when she stepped away, it had just hit the blogs that her husband Kevin had stepped out. This is not something that was a first-time rumor, that he had stepped out again and that he had a love child on her. And so in the wake of that being the rumble, then it was like she ended up like breaking her shoulder, I think, or something like that, or something. She fell. And so it just was a lot of concern, like, what's up with Wendy? So she came back and cleared that up. But yeah, we're going to see where this thing is going to go. I'm going to keep my eye on it. And if there's some news about it, I'll bring it to y'all next week. Let's get into our next. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. My podcast, I'm loving it. We'll be back after this commercial break. So if you're like me, you're looking for something to do on the weekend, so you know I was not going to leave y'all hanging. I've stumbled across a couple of events that I thought might be a little interesting. On Saturday, March 2nd, from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock p.m., they're going to be having a Dance Jam Family Mixer. I thought this was pretty cool because it's hosted by a nonprofit organization called Blocked Red Dance Company. And they're going to be giving free dance classes, have art displayed by local youth, raffles, games, dance competitions, and prizes. And it's created for the whole family. So I thought that could be something fun to go do during the day before you figure out, you know, what you want to get popping for your evening. Again, the event's going to be on Saturday, March 2nd from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock p.m. It's going to be at Brockus Project Dance. That's located at 618 B as in boy, Nuthin Avenue in L.A. Another dope event that I came across is Wrap Up Fridays at the Shortstop, which is located in Echo Park. I think the really cool thing about this particular event is that they say they feature hip-hop, that's up-tempo vibes, and party anthems. That means, to me, the party is going to be pretty crunk the entire night. It's on Friday night, March the 1st. They start at 9 o'clock and then they end at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's located at 1455 Sunset Boulevard in L.A., right there in Hollywood. Should be pretty interesting. I think that may be cool. And it is also free. You do have to go register, though, on eventbrite.com. You can look them up at Wrap Up Fridays at the Shortstop. Oh, and this is the event that I am most excited about. Live on stage, Morris Day and the Time. Y'all know they created Jungle Love and the Bird, Cameo, Word Up, Zap, Computer Love, the Barcades, Sherelle, Mary Jane Girls. They all gonna be on stage, y'all. March the 2nd. It is going down on Saturday, 7:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. at the Microsoft Theater, located downtown L.A. at 777 Chick Hearns Court. Man, that is going to be the ticket right there. The tickets are ranging between $64 for the mezzanine all the way down to $140 for the pit, which is really even still not bad. So I'm giving you guys a few options. You have no reason to blame me for sitting in the home, sitting in the house all weekend doing nothing. So make sure you guys go out and enjoy your weekend, enjoy your city, wherever city you live in. Get your life. I've always loved T.C. Penison's 1992 hit, Keep On Walking. That song, first of all, the beat is just, it make you want to bop, ba-da, bop, bop. It make you want to walk and feel like you're going somewhere to be successful, you know? But when I think about, or when I was thinking about, rather, what to name this particular episode, I thought about all the stories that I talked about. And within all of these stories, all of the people involved in these stories either need to walk away from something or someone, or they're walking towards something or something great they just encountered. So I was like, oh, that's pretty dope. That's what the episode should be about. Keep on walking. You know, I was talking to somebody this week, one of my clients who I consult with. We were having a conversation that was off of the record, and we were talking about how we calculate success. You know what I'm saying? As an entrepreneur, you know, I don't have a typical 9 to 5 every 2 week type reward system, and sometimes you have to redefine the wins. Or you may walk around, especially in a city like I live in, you may walk around feeling like you're not winning, when in actuality you are. You know, like Los Angeles, for example. This is the Olympics of the country. Everybody here was somebody back home. Everybody here left everything to be here. Everybody here is seeking greatness. Of course, I don't literally mean everybody, but proverbially, that is the tone of the city. And sometimes when you don't properly evaluate success, you can compare yourselves to your colleagues and start feeling like you're not doing anything, when in reality you're doing a lot and you're moving at your own pace according to your own timing and your own season. So that's what I've worked on a while ago, and how I was describing to her that I deal with that is if I could just make 1 inch of win, 1 inch of space, 1 inch of a step. If I made 1 inch of success that day, then I had a successful day. As long as I'm not standing in the exact same place that I was when my feet rolled out of bed and touched the ground for the first time this morning, whether that was mentally, financially, without a new plan, I need to know that I made some ground today in order to get to my proper goal. And with that being said, I feel like I made it. Because every day ain't going to be no mile stretch long wind day. That ain't going to be every day. And you can't beat yourself up. You can't be discouraged when you don't have a mile day. But can you be grateful for the inch? You know what I'm saying? And so today, I had a really dope week. I had a week full of actually consecutive wins, but that ain't every week. But I have to remind myself. So what we not gonna do is be ungrateful and realize that everything just supposed to be. And what we are going to do is remain grateful. So I appreciate you all listening to episode 5 of So What We Not Gonna Do, called Keep On Walking. And I cannot wait to get up with you guys next week at this same place and the same time. Again, connect with me, y'all. Y'all can connect with me during the week. You ain't got to wait all the way to Wednesday to see what I'm talking about. Again, I'm over at Smith Worldwide on Instagram, where I do my show, Being Smith. You can search that by the hashtag Being Smith on Instagram, and you can keep up with me. Oh my gosh, you guys, we'll be having so much going on around Hollywood. Come to work with me on the red carpet, see some of the celebrities that I'm interviewing, or some of the events that I'm attending with some of my brothers, or just downright how I'm doing at home and how the day's going. We get it in, and I would love to talk with you guys there. And again, keep tuning in to So What We Not Gonna Do podcast. Tell a friend, tell a cousin, tell an enemy, tell your old college teacher. I don't care who you tell, but tell somebody, because I'm excited about what we're doing, and I hope you are too. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Let's go.